So in this video here, we're going to be looking at the relationship between length and perimeter. So you hopefully understand what perimeter is, or how to calculate that for different types of shapes, and also how to convert between different units of length. So the first thing we're going to do is understand the relationship between the different units of length. And I'll get you to write this down using our standard metric for the units of length. So as we know, we've got millimeters, centimeters, kilometers, etc. And we have a conversion between those. So if you copy down these key aspects here, we know that sort of 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter, and 100 centimeters equals a meter, and we can continue going on from that. So we have meters up into kilometers. But we also have a type of conversion that we can do. If we know 1, and we can follow the process here, which I will draw, so in this asterisk part here, if we can follow this process, we're easily able to convert into the different units of measurement, or the units of length. So for example, if you knew what the millimeters were, and if you wanted to find out what the meters were, what you're doing is you divide first by 10, and then you divide by 100, and then you will get your answer. Okay, and the opposite occurs when we're trying to scale down. So if you had kilometers, and you wanted to find out what how many centimeters that were, you'd first multiply it by 1,000 and then multiply it by 100 to get your answer in centimeters in length. And that makes sense because obviously we know that kilometers are bigger, so when we're trying to find a smaller measurement, we need to make that number bigger, hence we are multiplying. And the opposite is true when we're got a smaller number and we're trying to put that into a bigger unit of length. So we divide, which will again make that number smaller. So if we wanted to apply that now to a question, you might see something like this. And you should always have this handy, and that's why it's very important that you should write this down in your notes. And the first one is convert these numbers into the measurement in the brackets. So I have 5.2 centimeters. So I'll start here at the centimeters, and I'm going to convert it to millimeters. And I can see that I'm going down here to the millimeters. So I'm simply just going to multiply that by 10. So I have 5.2 multiplied by 10, which will give me 52. And as always, make sure you enter in your correct units at the end, which will give me 52 millimeters. Now, if I have a large number, so in this case, I'm going to start here again at the centimeters. I have 80, sorry, terrible writing there. So I've got 85,000, okay, and I'm going to convert up to kilometers. So I'm going here, I'm starting at this point, and I'm moving up that way. So I'm firstly going to divide this by 100, and that effectively means just getting rid of 2 zeros. So now I have 850, and then from meters to kilometers, I need to then divide that by 1,000. So I'm then going to divide that by 1,000, and again that will move the 0.3 to the left, to give me 0.85 kilometers. So as long as you have that conversion handy, or you know how to do that, that'll really help you as we move forward. Now let's look at some examples of understanding how that relates to perimeter. Now the perimeter, as we know, and we've done a few examples of this, particularly with regular shapes, squares, rectangles, etc. But in most cases, we're going to get shapes that we're unfamiliar with. And the perimeter basically just means the distance around a closed shape. Now the general formula is perimeter equals AAS, which stands for perimeter means add all sides. So all you're doing is adding all the sides together in this closed shape. But there are 2 key features that you always must do. The first is that all units must be the same type when calculating the perimeter. So hence we've gone through this part here. So if one side is in centimeters, try and make all the sides centimeters. Make sure they're all the same type when you're calculating the perimeter. The other thing you might notice is that sometimes sides with the same type of markings or dash, that means equal length. So in this case, I can see there's got these 2 dashes here, and this one has 2 dashes here. These 2 sides here are equal length. So effectively this one would be perimeter equals 2x plus Z plus Y, because I have two of those same markings. So now let's look at examples of how we might calculate that when looking at different closed shapes. So here we want to find the perimeter of this shape. So I'll write down perimeter equals add all sides, and then I can go through first. Now you're going to use a bit of detective work here effectively, and I know that if this side here is 4, then this and this will also be 4. So I can add 4 here plus another 4 over there. Okay, now I have this side and this side to work through. Now here, this side here is 3 centimeters, and I can notice that this has this marking here, which also makes this 3 centimeters. So therefore, I can add 3 plus 3, and if this is 3 and this is 3, then of course this must be 6. Okay, and then I can add 6 in there. So I can just go through quickly and do my addition from sum from there. So we've got 10, 16, that would be 20 centimeters, always making sure you're adding in the correct units from there. Now there is other parts where if we know the perimeter, we can also work backwards to finding the different parts. So if perimeter equals add all sides, and in this case we know what the perimeter is. So the perimeter is 19, and then it's going to be 5. So I'm adding 5, but I have x here which I don't know, and there's 2 of them. So it's going to be plus 2 times x. Okay, and I can just go working backwards from there. So if I have 19 and I'm adding 5 here, that means I want to subtract 5 from this side. So that will give me now, so 19 minus 5 equals 2x. Okay, so now I have 19 minus 5, which will give me 14, equals 2x. Therefore, if I'm multiplying this symbol by 2, that means on the other side I need to divide that by 2. Therefore, I can change that around, sorry. Then I'll go x equals 7 centimeters. So as long as you know the processes and you can use those detective skills effectively, you'll be able to work out many of the perimeters of a closed shape. And anyway, as if you have any questions, please make sure you write them down. But just generally understanding the perimeter of adding all sides, using those dashes and finding the missing parts, and also making sure that you have that conversion that you need to between different units of length. Thanks guys.